every day, we're losing credibility in systems that used to be givens, taken for granted. Higher education, the media, government, organized religion. These are all permission structures and frameworks that are disappearing and dwindling, and we need to understand what the new rules are. Welcome to the Human in the Room podcast, where we're exploring lately why work feels broken. This argument is gaining steam as we move through headline after headline around graduations that say recent college graduates are losing faith in AI by the day. Wall Street Journal is joining the conversation. I'm reading an article here that says the American rebellion against AI is gaining steam. AI polled negatively against political parties and politicians. This study reveals what's cracking kind of underneath the surface. And we saw 3 graduation speakers, with no disrespect to them meant, that were booed when they mentioned AI in their graduation commencement speeches. So there's something raw and something visceral that's emerging as people are discussing the thing that we fear most at the time of graduation. That's exactly what I want to explore today through the lens of presence, judgment, and trust, the foundation of the human in the room system. So thanks for being with us today. I want to talk about some of the things that are filtering through my feeds because it's not a one-off. I'm seeing more and more distrust in AI emerging by the day. And when I heard people loudly booing graduation speakers that even dared to bring it up, I got worried. I got worried about the young people that are really, truly scared about the world that they're walking into. I got worried about the fact that there are leaders that have no idea how to explain to a recent graduate who might be joining their team, here's how things are done here, because their own patterns are being disrupted so frequently and so profoundly. So as we think about how to remake an image of work that reflects humanity and the current state of efficiency that we get from machines, from computers, and indeed from AI, how do we put Humpty Dumpty back together again? I don't think we do. I think right now we're looking at the reordering of permission structures all over the world and in every realm of being. And as we reorder those things, we have to make sure that we're not creating a gap where anxiety thrives between expectations and deliverables. I know when I graduated college in the 90s, I had the opportunity to walk into a system that was clearly articulated to me. The expectations were so clear, it almost felt restrictive. It almost felt like I was in a straitjacket. How was I supposed to bring who I was to that role when everything was so prescriptive? Well, the opposite is true today. Now we've taken so many of those permission structures out of the workplace and we sent people home during the pandemic to work from home and create a stopgap solution during a global pandemic. Well, it's hard to take that genie out of the bottle. We're finding employers that say routinely, and I spoke with a Fortune 50 employer last night who said, I said, what are you all doing about bringing people back into the office? She said, well, most of our jobs that we bring back to the office, we're outsourcing to Bangalore, India. So that might be something that sounds efficient in the front line, but there's going to be some serious cultural membranes that need to be crossed. Some of those people who are going to be working for that global super brand have no idea what that brand experience is, and they have no idea how to achieve the nuanced recognition of that brand in how they're delivering service. So that creates a new layer of expectation and delivery in this whole environment that's already so confusing for so many people. We know that young people know that there's an expectation out there of them. They just don't know what it is. We also know that when we talk to older employers, more senior people, they're frustrated with, quote, this generation. And I know that we're not going to solve this by blaming each other. I know that we're not going to solve it by finding fault and deficit in an age group that isn't our own. I know for me, I'm in the prime of my career, and in about 10 years, I'll probably want to retire. I need to make sure that there's a succession plan for me, that there's leaders that are being trained and developed right now so that I've got an off-ramp for what I want to do to achieve my goals in retirement. What worries me is so many jobs that are entry-level jobs that are designed to have people learn the way we do things around here, learn our brand standards, learn that nuance of our culture, understand who's who in the organization. Who are the VIP stakeholders in what we do, and what's going on out there? Those types of jobs are the types of jobs that are entry level that are getting replaced by AI. And that sounds sexy on the label of it and up front, but it's actually removing those pseudo apprenticeships that make people ready to understand the company and how it runs. When we remove those experiences, we don't have the opportunity to bring up a set of leaders to start taking middle management roles and move through a ladder of seniority and competency that makes them ready to run the whole show. That worries me. And that means that my generation of leaders should also be concerned about what's going on in the workplace. I know that the experience around mistrusting AI and worrying about AI taking our jobs is one that's very real. And it's now incumbent on the young leaders that are graduating from university to help show how they are not fragile, how they are not resistant to feedback, how they are not lacking in good judgment. And we've developed a framework in my book, in the trainings that we do, and on this podcast, where we can actually workshop in real time some of those interview questions, some of those real world experiences that I'm talking about with leaders all the time. So much of this is run on a navigational system that I really line up under the pillar of judgment in the system that we wrote in Human in the Room. You know, when we can trust somebody with the small things, we know that we can start ramping up the things we can trust them with up into including the big things. But we know that so many young people are projecting a sense of sometimes entitlement. Some TikTok influencer told them to be authentic at work, and they think that's exactly what they should be doing. When in fact, you know, a senior leader seeing someone being, quote, authentic at work might read as bad judgment. And it might mean that that leader is hesitant to give them an escalating series of tasks to do that would have higher optics, higher stakes, higher potential downsides. And so that real dynamic that's out there, that tension that exists between the expectation of the leader and the present state of that young professional that's getting career advice on Instagram or TikTok, that's real. And we need to close that gap. We need to close it for everyone's sake. I think that's why work feels broken. And I think that's why Town and Country and the Wall Street Journal and newspapers across the country and podcasters like Ed Elson and Scott Galloway are talking about this new and looming accelerating mistrust in AI. And it's not just AI's fault. This system was in decline moving into the pandemic. And so many of us that were in leadership, we just did the best we could during the pandemic. We had operations to run. We had revenue streams that we had to protect and maintain and even grow. How do you do that in an environment where an office that was full of people, that mentorship happened at the water cooler, and that we actually expressed cultural norms of our company during those in-office times? But we still have to maintain and run the business in an environment where we now have to manage a spreading disease. That was a complex set of skills. And I know that we all didn't get it right. I know I didn't get it right in every single part of my leadership assignment. I did the best I could. Well, now we've got to reconstitute this new understanding of work. And I think it's important for the young people who are listening who tell me all the time, I'm craving mentorship, Betsy. I'm craving someone to tell me how it all works. They know that there's a set of rules out there that are unwritten, and they want to learn them. But how are they going to do that on a Zoom screen? It's pretty tough. So the reality is that it's incumbent again on that young leader to create those water cooler moments, whether they're in hybrid or remote work or not. They're going to have to take the lead. They're going to have to reach out to a willing person that's more senior than they are and say, look, I know we don't get to bump into each other at the water cooler, but would you mind either doing a call or a coffee with me on a regular cadence? A hack I learned this week about habit forming that you may want to take away into your practice is that people don't like to commit to things with a long-term time frame on it or an indefinite ending point. What would be great is if you reached out to someone and said, for the next 6 weeks, could we talk every week, either on a call or on a coffee, and work on a program of how I can show up with a greater sense of trust building, a stronger presence in front of my leaders and my customers, and how I might show that I can exercise better and better judgment so I can be trusted with the bigger things. That's my pro tip from this week's session. Reach out to a leader, whether they're in your industry, your company, or maybe they're just in your personal influence network. Reach out to someone who you think is getting it right and ask them to commit to a 6-week time frame to help support you in your development, because these systems aren't running on their own anymore. And unfortunately, it's up to the young person to take the lead. Now, here's good news. If you ask someone who's older to support you in some way, I've never met someone that says, go away, I just don't have any time for you. If you're a young person, you might have that fear in your head that they're going to say that to you. But those of us who are more senior in our careers, we got here because somebody else helped us. And if somebody doesn't want to pay back by helping you, don't waste your time with them anyway. Move on. Their advice isn't going to be that much worth it anyway. But I would say to you, in my experience, the people my age and seniority want to help, but this disruption has affected them too. They have no idea how to reach out to a younger generation and provide authentic, relevant support because there's so many generational divides, because our communication has been so disrupted, and because every day we're losing credibility in systems that used to be givens, taken for granted. Higher education, the media, government, organized religion, these are all permission structures and frameworks that are disappearing and dwindling, and we need to understand what the new rules are. That's what we're here to do on this podcast. We can't wait to move forward with you with your ideas, your suggestions, your real-world examples of how you think work is broken and how we might be able to help you. So I'm so looking forward to moving through this next piece with you. It's graduation time, and we need to be thinking about the people that are coming out of college, coming out of high school, the skill sets we've heard people say they wish they had in their teams. Those are all soft skills. Those are skills like conflict management, being able to have hard conversations, being self-aware, understanding what a context is or what expectations of you there might be. Think about what managing up is. Managing up is the art of understanding what your direct report is getting measured on and what matters to them, anticipating their needs and providing valuable, actionable results to help them achieve that. If you do that, trust me, you'll be trusted with the big things. So as we move forward in this podcast, get ready for even more content to help you supersize what you're doing and to help you get ahead in a world where the rules have just disappeared. We're rewriting them here on this podcast. We're giving you a new vocabulary for how to succeed and, more importantly, to feel a deeper connection to work, to feel a sense of meaning, to feel a sense of purpose, and hopefully to reduce that feeling of loneliness that gnaws at so many of us because we're just spending too much time on a screen. What I love about the younger generation is they know there's something wrong. They're ready to do something about it. And I can't wait to give you the cheat codes and the scripts and the solutions to help you get to a more meaningful, more successful work. So until next time, I hope you'll be the human in the room, and we'll see you on the next episode.